So I'll be quick because I don't want to bore anybody here. We have a premises case. A lady is at her friend's house in a condo complex, and they're walking through the condo complex, and you got these concrete steps. So she alleges one of the concrete steps is loose, and she falls on the concrete step, and she suffers no fractures, but lower back pain, this, that, the other. So we take on the case. She goes and sees Dr. Brizzy in San Diego. He's doing epidural injections. There's a surgery recommendation. She's in a lot of pain, got a lot of problems. We go all the way to trial. We get an offer before trial of like 100 grand. The meds are 120, so we don't take the offer. We're in trial. I stand up. I give my whole opening statement and how bad this woman is and poor lady, etc., etc. And then I take her through her testimony, and then there's cross, and I see a manila envelope come out. You know that manila envelope that comes out, and he's like, ma'am, have you ever visited this premises before? She says, yeah, I visited my friend once there before, and he pulls out a lease agreement. He says, but ma'am, I've got a lease agreement here saying that you lived there for 3 years yourself before this accident. She's like, yeah, I forgot to mention that. And then he's like, and your friend, they're no longer friends. Your friend that you were with, why were you visiting her? Oh no, we're old friends. And he says, well, I'm going to be calling your friend later. She tells me she's a prostitute and you're a prostitute. And in fact, you were visiting to service some of your clients on that particular day. And you've already testified that you had seen Dr. Brizzy earlier on that day to get an epidural injection. And what were you doing later that night? She says, I can't recall. And he says, well, your friend is going to tell me that the 3 of you were doing a threesome. And you were taking the more active part in this threesome. Wow. So can you tell me how, with your epidural injection in your lower back, how this worked?
That actually is better for your case because the epidural allowed her to perform.
You could argue that, but we go further. He then says, and your friend is going to testify that that rock that you slipped on, well, you didn't really slip on it. You guys moved it after the fact to make out as though you slipped on it. Oh, wow. And she's like, oh, I don't remember that. Anyway, it's tea time. So we break for tea. And
I'm surprised they offered you 100 grand.
And I'm shocked. The client comes to me and says to me, how are we doing?
I always get shocked by that question.
What do you mean, how are we doing?
I've had clients.
I'm sitting there thinking, fuck. Are we allowed to say fuck on a podcast?
Yeah,
I'm not
sure.
I'm like, fucking hell. So I go back to the attorney and I say, that 100 grand you were offering me, is it still on the table? He says, if she gets back into the witness stands and carry on testifying, we're going to make sure she's charged with perjury. So no 100 grand. She had driven from my office to the courthouse. I said, ma'am, you're on your own. Get home on your own. I'm out of here. Judge, sorry to waste your time. Case dismissed. Wow. We're moving on. So that's you want to know war story? That comes. Have you ever had that before?
I've never heard the word threesome in any of my trials ever.
There you go. And he had the ads, by the way, of their advertising for a. It was all there.
Man, this is like.
So we lost that trial, and I moved on. So that's one of the.
If you would have hired Morrow as a consultant, he would have snipped this out right away.
You would have, eh?
Yes, I would have told you all. They're notorious for their threesome work.
That's why. You know what? I've taken to. I'm very proud to say I no longer run trials. I enjoy my weekends. I don't look through depositions. If I got a trial, I say generally to Ryan Conger, Ryan, here's the case, buddy. You work it up. I'll worry about getting the next one in the door.
I love it.